All right, so I guess I'm in the way of my clock. Let me move the clock over here. Hopefully that won't get in the way. Thank you everybody that's tuned in to what we're doing today with Ecamm Live. Welcome to the stream show, and we have been talking about podcasting, and we will continue to talk about podcasting. But for the next 4 minutes in our countdown, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to show you how to actually load in a podcast, and I don't want to use Premiere. I'm going to go to Adobe Audition, and inside of Adobe Audition, we're going to build a couple of slides here, or build a show basically. So let me find in my file a show that I've already done. Welcome everybody that's coming in. Please comment as much as you can. In just a second, I will get to all of your comments. But for right now, I'm actually loading up a show that I did just last week with Ash Borland and Andrew Moon. We all kind of sat in here together and did a show, and I am actually loading all of those shows or microphone tracks into Adobe Audition. In just a second, I'm going to show you what those tracks look like. Calling this test, and now we're going to load them in. So this is the main mic, which is my mic. This is a movie file. What do I have now? Guest number 1 should have been Ash, and then Andrew Moon. I think I've changed his name, and you see it's loading up. It's going to take a second because we do have more than an hour's worth of content here. I'm going to slide all of these down so I have more time once they are all loaded. Okay. So again, I want to say welcome everybody. I'm actually starting the show with a demo in Adobe Audition. If you have these tracks, I had my microphone from last week with 2 other guests, including a movie audio file. I had one movie audio file that is a quick little drop. I think it's like all of 6 or 7 seconds. I might delete that and get it out of the way, but I at least wanted to show you with Ecamm Live, these are all the audio files that you can get. And I'm going to show you how we edit those as well. So I'm going to drag the top here so I can see everything. And then once that's done, I'm going to slide this down so we don't have that much time to work with. Is that 50 minutes? Let's do 20 minutes worth. And again, this is the movie file. I'm going to delete that because it's not much there. This is microphone guest number 1. Should be Andrew. No, that was Ash Borland. And now we have these tracks. Again, it is about 20 minutes long. I'm not going to have you hear all of this. And if I just do one portion, then you wouldn't get all 3 voices. But let's try this so you can hear what happens with these tracks. All right, so I have all of these tracks, and I can do any kind of audio effect that I want to on the separate tracks. And this is where Ecamm Live really comes in well. And I have a minute to show you this, so let me just play this. Creation, guys. I want to throw it out there. Why is podcasting? I don't think I'm as loud as I need to be. Creator. So I can slide the volume
you
up.
take on first if you want, and
I'm
I'll
gonna
dive in
go
after.
back. If you heard what I was saying there, or one of the Ecamm guys, I love it. One of the stream guys that uses Ecamm for me, so I appreciate the help. Thanks for hanging out with us today, all of my Ecamm family guys. Thank you so very much. And I'm gonna slide it a little out there. Why is podcasting important for a content creator?
Andrew, you take on first if you want, and I'll dive in afterwards.
think he's
But
as
otherwise,
loud.
because
I'm
I'm being
turning it up.
very aware that I don't just talk. So go ahead.
It's all good. You know, I think
And
that
this is
like
Andrew
I
Moon,
just
the third track.
traditionally got into the quote unquote traditional podcasting probably November. I think I launched my
Basically,
true podcast
guys,
channel.
you can see how I'm able to go into each track, and all I did was turn up the volume on each one. But there's so much more you can do with compression, with effects, with delays when you have these individual tracks. So all I have to do at this point is actually go to multi-track, and then I can set the entire section and lights, camera, action. Join the stream team with Strick and Brant and be a part of the Stream Network. Our goal is really simple. We're here to help you succeed. Listen, we actually have that as part of the stream show. Our countdown will actually go for 5 minutes, and then we'll go into our actual show. And I was trying to do a demo within that time, and I just love the excitement that it brings. But I do want to show you this really, really quick so you guys won't miss out on what I was actually trying to say. So let me go back to my screen share here, and you can see I've taken all 3 of those files, and now it's just one track. Okay, and all I have to do at this point is highlight this. I like using an effect that's called hard limiter, and it's already set here for what I want. I need to tone this down a little bit, and I compress the files, and I've compressed it a little too much. Let's go back. That's way too much, Strick. Let's undo that. Let's try this one more time. So I am going down to hard limiter, and let's go about there. That's what I wanted. Okay, now our files are compressed, and I think we had some talking with everybody about right here. Let's see if you can hear that. I thought that was really cool. What's up, guys? We are in the Ecamm Live's YouTube channel. I am DJ Strick for the stream show, and I have an excellent show. And from here, I can now save this file as a MP3, and we are done. Okay, it is really that simple. You take that MP3 and you can load it up into any of your platforms. And I want to show you one platform that we have, and I have some guests waiting in the back, guys. I am really biting at the chomps to be able to talk to these guys because they are super, super cool. So let's go to, there we go, the stream show. We're going to go and get this file, new episode, create a new episode right here. And basically all I have to do is take that file, and I'm just grabbing something really quick because I think we are still loading on this one. Did I save it? Here we go. I'm just going to grab this, and we are now done with a new episode. It's actually uploading right now. You can see it right here. And if you're trying, and this is Anchor that I'm using, there's several other platforms that you can use for your podcast. I like Anchor because it is connected to Spotify, so you can actually do video on Spotify, audio on Anchor. The simple way to do this is take your video file and drop it right into Anchor, and it'll separate the audio to Anchor and push it out with the RSS feed. And then on Spotify, you have the actual videos. It's that simple. Now that that's been done, all right? Now that that's been done, guys, I can stop for a second and really be excited about having an opportunity to bring the guy onto the show that really got me started with all of this. I was just somebody trying to figure out how to get online and do what I'm doing right now with Ecamm. And this gentleman was coming on, I want to say it was almost every day. It wasn't almost, it just felt that way because I was watching his material so often. I even sometimes sound like this guy. It is crazy. What I know comes from him. And I also have a gentleman that is working so very hard. I like his work ethic when it really comes to producing shows for Ecamm and for audio for content creators. This guy is really cool because he works hard in putting up new stuff for you. So without any further ado, please welcome Dot Rock and Alec Johnson. Hey guys, how are you doing?
What's cracking? What's cracking?
Thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me. I did a demo in about 6-7 minutes about audio podcasting. I know I left so much out, but the details of all of what I was trying to do, Doc and Alec, is make it very simple for people. A lot of times people think when they haven't done something, it's such a mountain of confusion, misunderstanding, when all they have to do is just try, because you could take a movie file from Ecamm and load it up into Anchor, and Anchor does all the work from there. Isn't it really cool? Do you guys use Anchor by any chance? I know, Doc, you have a podcast, or you were working on a podcast at the time.
Yeah.
Are you using a platform like Anchor or Transistor or something
I
like
use
that?
Captivate.
Captivate,
I
gotcha.
absolutely love Captivate. And my other podcast, believe it or not, is on Podbean. So I use 2 different hosts, but I'm going to bring everything over to Captivate. I just like it. It's really good.
It's really good. What do you like about Captivate that is making you leave Podbean? Podbean has been around for a very long time.
Yeah, Podbean's been in for a minute. So Captivate does something a little bit different. They are market focused. In other words, it's not just a place where you host your podcast. It has a bunch of tools and stuff that let you work on the marketing and promotion, and it's sort of guiding you through. So their platform is almost as if you took a business CRM plus a podcast host and stuck those 2 together. So after you submit everything, it's like, reminding you to put things here, do that, set up your ad runs. If you're using Amy, their ad platform, like, it's really cool. Like, it's really focused at making you expand your podcast, because it was invented by a podcaster. So, I think some of the other ones were invented by nerds. This one was invented by a podcaster who had been podcasting for years. So he found what he thought was missing from the rest. So he covers that, but then he adds a bunch of other stuff. The only disadvantage to Captivate, it doesn't do video natively. That didn't worry me because of my prediction of YouTube taking on video soon.
We talked about that last week. YouTube has already said that they're going to do that. It's just a matter of when. That being said, I was so focused on my demo, Doc, I didn't do what you do so very well, which is say hello to everybody that's in the comments. Keely, come on, man. Thank you so very much. It is a cool topic, and we got 2 cool dudes to talk about it today. And not only is he on the show, Alex is here, but he's saying hello in the background. The moderator himself. Hello, Mr. Paul. Good to have you here with us. Todd Christmas Tree. I don't know this. Do you know this guy? Like, it's a cool name.
Man, Todd is one of the nicest guys in the planet, and he's Christmas 24/7. So you gotta love Todd. He's just Christmas.
Gotta love it. Listen, I'm one of those kind of people that listen to Christmas music every now and again in the summer. So Todd, I get it, man. Business growth ready. Morning, everyone. Just it's midnight. Just turned midnight. He must be over the pond, as they would say. And then Empowerment by Renee. I like Texas people. It's something about Texas. Everything is big there. And of course, Andrew Moon is hanging out with us today. Our guest from last week. I was working on our show. It's podcasting now, Andrew. James says hello. Andrew does say hello to you, Doc and Alex. Jared's howdy, y'all. And then we have hello. Someone's always reminding us, guys, if you haven't done it yet, please, I'm asking you to hit the like button if you are enjoying the information we're providing. And of course, we just got started, but hit the like button anyway. And Paul was responding to what I said, Doc. He's responsible for a lot of us being here. And Doc, he may or may not, take the what do you want to say? The responsibility of having so many people in the streaming space, especially with Ecamm. But Doc, you have it, man. I mean, we could go down the list of people that were in Let's Get Live. Go ahead, Alex.
It's fun to watch them grow, right? So.
Yeah, Doc's why I'm here as well. I was pulling my hair out with OBS and then saw Doc on MacBreak Weekly, and came. That's what got me into Ecamm. That's what got me enthusiastic about it. That's what got me starting my YouTube channel and then coming into the Ecamm community with all the support there. I just literally would not be doing what I'm doing right now without Doc. So thank you.
There you go. 2 people on the show, Doc, showing you some major league love as you're getting ready to go out of town.
Yes, it's going to be absolutely cool. I'm actually going to go hang out with the Queen and Uncle Ray. So I'm enjoying, learning what I can from Uncle Ray about copywriting and stuff like that. Okay. And then not enjoying getting yelled at by Diana for 5 days.
I'm sure you won't get yelled at. You guys have a ton of fun. It seems like when you're together. Doc Rock is in the house, and yeah, I guess you can call it the Three Musketeers here. That's what's up. And Images, how are you doing? David is here with us today, and Dean is here with us today, and Parker is here with us today as well. How to use Ecamm for your audio podcast. I've showed you in the beginning of this, so everybody that may be watching through the replay, you got the demo up front, 3 different files from the main microphone, which was mine, and 2 different guests from last week. And even a movie file. If you have any kind of movie that's playing that has audio, you would get that as well. Sound effects, you would get that as well. Ecamm is just giving you all of what you need. And if you have a platform like Anchor, you even are able to use your movie file. So basically, if you have a clean show, just dump the movie file into Anchor and you are good to go. And Anchor would use the audio file and send it through all of the places it would go, to Google, to Spotify, because it would do video there as well, Apple Music, and it has a few other. I think altogether it's 6 or 7 other sites that it will actually put your audio file through RSS. And that's why I use Anchor, because I didn't have to worry about adding any Apple and Google was the 2 major ones. Of course, in Spotify, the 3 that I really wanted to be at. Doc, when you're using your platform, is it just one platform and then you share it to everybody, or is your platform that you're using able to kind of distribute it as well?
So the way it should work with almost any platform is when you post your episode, it should send out an real syndicate. Oh my God, I forgot what it means. Real simple syndication. There we go. It'll send out a little tickle file to all what I like to say is to all the podcast places where podcast getting is got. It should send a signal to all of those folks and be like, hey, there's a new episode. And then so when you first set it up, right, you go down to the bottom and it gives you a list of like 9 or 10 of the main ones. Normally, if you cover the 9 or 10 main ones, everywhere else would get it, because some of the littler ones, which are good, but people have reasons why they like it, they check the bigger ones like Apple, Spotify, Google Play. Don't forget Amazon, people. Please don't forget Amazon. Amazon podcasts are growing really quickly, and Stitcher, things like that. It'll go ahead and cover those, and all the little ones will find it after. So really good. And don't forget to set yourself up a profile on Podchaser. Podchaser is like IMDb for podcasters.
See, this is Alex. This is why I bring him on. Like, he's always a wealth of knowledge. Like, who knew Podchasers is another one to be on. Now, could you explain why you're saying like that's one of the ones you just need to have as a distributor of your podcast?
Well, if you think about it, it's like it's like IMDb for podcasts. So today when we're done, right, I could go in and say, so here's one. I was a guest on Jared's show, right? And I remember the original show. I don't remember the second one. The original show, I'm episode number 53, right?
Gotcha.
So I go to Podchaser when I'm done. Jared, at the time I did it, didn't have a Podchaser page. I believe he does now. So the first one I went and said, I was a co-host on episode 53 of the Hive podcast, and it puts me down. Every time I'm on with Leo Laporte and those guys on Mac Break Weekly, it puts me down, right? So when someone says, man, this guy, I've heard him on the Strick show, I wonder where else, here you go, people, I wonder where else I can hear some more from this cat. If they go to Podchaser or just Google podcasts that I might have been on, it's like literally having an IMDb or your SAG page, right? If you have SAG, for those who are acting, you have a SAG card. So it's kind of like DJ Clue was featured on how many records? 87. So you can just tell if you look that up on CD Baby back in the day, right? So you can find out all of the things where someone's been on. And it's cool. You put your show there, it automatically tells everyone you made a new show. And as you bring on guests, if you happen to have on a guest who is mad flavor, right? And someone goes to look them up, you show up on their page because you hosted them on your show. So that's how you get your joint discovered.
Gotcha. Jared is like, thanks for the update, like the reminder there. Yeah. So, okay, I took a note, Alex. I really did take a note from Doc, and this is going to happen all day. So while we have him here, we're going to use Doc up, Alex, and we're going to talk about this. Paul has helped us as the moderator. If you have a question, just put Q in front, and we'll be able to find those questions and answer them. Someone did have a question that didn't have a Q, so I want to go right to that because this is before Paul made that note, and they wanted to know the difference between Anchor and these people actually hosted Podfest, and I don't know much about them. I would say this, as I was researching Anchor, Anchor is easy to get into, okay? The ease of use, how simple it is to get started. They don't give you a lot of the behind the scene analytics, okay? So, Doc, I don't know if you look at your analytics all the time, but that's one of the knocks on Anchor because they're having a lot of the information behind the scene, who's listening and all of that. You get some of it, but you don't get all of it. And I think that's the difference between the other podcast platforms that's out there.
Okay, so Libsyn's the oldest in the business. Libsyn might just be the best in the business. But they lack a lot of the new modern tools because they're the oldest in the business.
Gotcha.
I personally not a fan of Libsyn for no other reason than just when everybody was updating and they're bringing all the cool stuff to the party, they just did it because they were good where they were. Nothing wrong with them at all. Just, it's like broccoli. I know all y'all eat broccoli. Your mans ain't eating broccoli. Can't stand that stuff.
Like, not with cheese or anything?
Nothing, dude. I tried covered it in cheese, weed, everything. I ain't eating it.
Listen, you got to bake it. You tried to bake it?
I put bacon in there. Still can't. I can't do the texture. It's not the flavor, it's the texture.
I get it.
So,
I get it.
Yeah, Libsyn is very, very good. It's not my flavor, but it is good. Same thing with Anchor. Anchor is amazing. I refuse to use Anchor, period, point blank.
Okay, so you are always like definite on your likes and dislikes. Tell me why not Anchor from your standpoint?
They may have fixed it by now, but when they first came out, they were doing some shady stuff when they got connected with Spotify, where it says they have the right to own your content when you put it on there. But people, general population, especially newbies that go to Anchor because why? It's easy.
It's easy. That's what I'm saying.
Newbies go to Anchor because it's easy. Newbies also don't read terms and conditions. Nerds, we read terms and conditions. So when you get down to the fourth term and condition that says we own your content and we can do what we want to with it, us nerds will be like, hell no.
I get
it.
But I get it.
Okay. Your show ain't sponsored. You're not making money off your show. No biggie. Just use it. Knock yourself out. When your show starts making a lot of money, you just move it. Move it to somewhere where they can't jack your stuff.
Listen, Doc, this is something, and Alex, I want you to join in on this particular point that Doc just made, because a lot of times we talk to new content creators that are trying to do as much as they can. I remember...
I don't want to cut you out. I just want to make sure that everybody, you can take everything I said and throw it away because they fixed it, because they probably got lambasted by people be like, no, you can't do that. Okay, so now Anchor's safe. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. So that being said, Doc, I know we deal with a lot of new content creators that have, it's just like when Clubhouse came out, and we all jumped on Clubhouse and spent tons and tons of hours on Clubhouse. There's so much for people to do. I believe ease of use as a new content creator to have a platform is important. And Alex, I want you to kind of jump in here when it talks about, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Now you want to have a podcast. Yes, you got all the audio files that you need or video file that you need from Ecamm, but when you're trying to do it, how easy should the process be for people? Or should you just go get it?
Well, it's like Doc says, you got to try something, you've got to learn something, be prepared to be teachable and learn the new stuff. But obviously, if something is an easier process to follow, then that's that's certainly going to help, isn't it? But I mean, that's one of the things that I've loved about Ecamm from the start, is just that when you see how things can be done differently, like with other platforms, and you realize that there's got to be an easier way, and then you find something that is like, you know, a breath of fresh air, like Ecamm, then it certainly does make a difference, and it's obviously going to be the path of least resistance for people. So it's exactly the same with software as it is for platforms, where if it is an easier process, then there are going to be more people go down that way. But it's just a case of understanding the right tool for the job, and then being prepared to put in the work to learn the tool to get the job done, basically.
Because you talk about tools all the time, and I know we're talking about podcasting now, but you talk, you've gone down the Stream Deck, you talked about the Rodecaster Pro 2, the ease of use of that. Like, how would you tell a new content creator that, hey, this is something that's good for you, knowing that there's so many bells and whistles, and this is really advanced work, as the Rodecaster 2 would be kind of an advanced setting for the Rodecaster Pro 1. Like, how would you explain that? Would you tell people, hey, depending on how you're using, you might want to go with the 1 because the 2 is really robust?
It's a balancing act, that is, actually, just as somebody who makes tutorials, is trying to figure out, there is such a spectrum of, skill sets out there. How would you actually pitch something in terms of like the level of competence that you're sort of aiming at? And it's trying to balance that thing of making it accessible so that, people with zero knowledge can come in and learn from it, but then also not dumbing it down too much. So I try and find that balance somewhere. But the Rodecaster Pro 2, especially because it's got so many potential functions and different use cases and ways that you can use it. Every time I make one video, there's comments that come back. Well, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, and it's very nuanced in terms of how you would set things up. There is no like one specific correct setup. So what I've tried to do is sort of explain the principles behind it, so that then you can take that to apply it to other use cases, basically. But there was a comment just the other day about whether it's too much for some people, and what they're trying to do is overly complex compared to their sort of skill level. But I think it's a case of explaining the tools, and then if somebody's deciding that they're going to do something where they've got a back channel chat going on, and then they're streaming to YouTube, but then they've also got a Zoom call going in and a Discord. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I'm doing with it. And if somebody wants to do that sort of stuff, then it's just a fact of they have got to learn to use the tool. So I try and just explain it as simply as I can from that point of view.
I like that. Doc, you're explaining this stuff all the time. Like, you're doing some amazing tutorials now, even helping content creators think about their mindset and resetting all of that. Sometimes, when we have so many things that we are trying to do, and it's a real hustle being on this platform and that platform. And I want to say a big shout out to I Believe in Podcast. He says, hello, everybody, or she, and thanks for hanging out. How do you help people through that process? Ecamm makes it simple, but how simple should we make the podcasting for content creators that are doing video? How should that process go for them? What do you think?
All right, so I just want to fix everyone's mindset here. And I can't help myself when it comes to this.
Come on.
People, I want to get into this, but it's going to be hard, right?
Yes.
And then the other people are like, I want to get into this. This is challenging. Challenges excite me. I love learning new stuff. Let's get after it. There's only 2 types of people in the world.
I agree.
Like, everything you see is an obstacle, or everything you see is an opportunity, right? With 2 bad knees and old as hell, I'll look at a mountain like an opportunity, and I'll throw some hooks and some pitons and some ropes. I'll get after it. I'll be dying when I get to the top. But I don't look at stuff like, oh, this is freaky. I just put a link in the chat to a book called Take the Stairs.
I got it up for you.
Achieving Success is by a guy named Rory Vennon, right? If you always elevator, eventually what would happen to human legs if we stopped taking the steps? If all we ever did was elevator and car everything, we will eventually have no legs.
Yeah.
Like, you have got to put yourself through. You can't go to the gym and lift 5s all day and expect to do something. You have to put a little bit of diamonds take pressure, Pay. You know, diamonds take pressure. You got to don't stop looking for the easy way out for everything, because the easy way normally comes with caveats.
Okay.
And so what I try to do is stop people before they get started on wanting everything to be easy. And you'll find some stuff becomes easy, right? Later, right? Okay, 3 to 3 of us, and any one of us go and try to hit a scratch game in golf, we're not doing it. Tiger, 3-4 times a week. Why? Because he plays every day. So if you want it to be easy, do it every day. And then it'll become easy. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree with that.
That's a challenge. That's a challenge because almost always the shortcut ways have a weird caveat or something of that nature. And so in the beginning, why everybody went to Anchor, and again, I'm happy that they fixed it, because Anchor was free. And Anchor knew that everybody would jump on it because it was free, because Libsyn's like $15 to $50 a month, depending on how much downloads you get. So everybody's going to go, oh, I'm going to go free. So while you was doing free, Anchor was collecting all your data and selling it to everybody.
There you go. That's what happens.
I'll add something to this as well, though, about looking at challenges. A lot of people look at the mountain in front of them rather than the first few steps that they can take. So that's the other side of this, is like just looking at something and thinking, oh my gosh, it's too big. I can't do it. It's confusing. It's all of these other things. But taking things just one step at a time and understanding, like, right, what's the next action that I can take towards this is always a good approach.
Thank you.
Well, think about
one
this.
last real quick, Strick, before
Yes,
I forget.
sir.
I want to let this one slide. There's a whole bunch of people in the chat, except for, I know me, Keely, Eden for sure. I don't know about the rest of y'all. A whole bunch of people in the chat did one of the hardest things they'll ever do in their life without even thinking about it. They didn't go, it's scary. They didn't do nothing. They just got honey, I got something to tell you. What? The stick turned blue. Oh, now you got 6 kids, Linwell. So how is it that you dive into parenting without being afraid of that? That's the most difficult thing you'll ever do in your life. And then there's the rest of us that avoided it like the plague. like you ain't scared of that. Why should you be scared of anything else? If you got a teenager in your house, especially, you could do anything you want now because you created another freaking human.
That's good, Doc. That's really a good way to look at it. And of course, when we talk about parenting, we do have to look at the fact that most of the people like the first part of parenting, or making the children, is where the excitement comes in. Like, they like babies. The teenagers are not so fun. I promise you, teenagers are not so fun. But the first part is. So let me say this. Doc I put it up already. So y'all please check out the chat. Check out the book. There we go. Check out the book that he mentioned. And of course, Paul is here. He says that you can learn something without making mistakes. You can't learn something without making mistakes. I like that. Mistakes are your pathway to success. That is so very true. And anything worth doing takes effort. Is so true. And my man, Rich Graham, is here. What would a chair look like if your legs was bent the other way? Something to think about. Okay, Rich. And he's got 4 of them tied. He got 4 of them, and she was Keely is, hey, I was a stepmom for 18 years. No wonder I'm fearless. There you go. You are fearless. So let me say this. When we are talking about content creators, Doc and Alex, and there's so many other things for them to do. Okay, so not that people don't want to go up the mountain. Sometimes you have to choose the mountains that you need to climb. Yes, podcasting is another form of content that you can get out there, and there are millions of people that are listening to podcasts every day. Okay, whether it's Apple, Google, or Amazon, Spotify, they're listening to podcasts, and you want to have your content out there somewhere. But is this how, in a hierarchy of content creations, when we all are doing video with Ecamm, how should I place this, Doc and Alex, in my things to do on a daily basis? Doc is smiling. Tell me what you think. I thought that was a good question.
Look, I'm going to give you a pro tip. There's a person in the chat right now. If you're watching this on replay, hopefully the chat's there. His name is Jared Spain. Right click on his name and says go to channel. He has a video in there like how he recorded a podcast in Ecamm, and another video that says why he records his podcast in Ecamm. Because you record your podcast, and then when it's done, the audio is already there. There's a folder called isolated audio. Your audio is already there. Open it up in the podcast editor. This is really all you have to do. Slap on an intro or outro, right? Remind people how to find you on socials. Save that file and upload it. You can finish that in a cup of coffee. 1 cup of coffee. Sorry. Yeah, musical Tourette's.
I get it.
I do is after I save it, I run it through Audition, do a couple other steps, and I also edit a little bit more. But in theory, you can literally take the audio directly out of Ecamm when you're done, throw it into any editor, GarageBand, anything you got, right? Buzzsprout and some of these other ones let you edit your podcast online, like on a web page, right? So you can do it on an iPad, right? So anyway, you just take that file when you're finished and slap a head and tail on it, throw a music bed if you wish, and upload it. You can literally get your podcast out about 15 minutes after you stop your live stream.
So let me give you one better, Doc. Let's just say you don't have an audio, like you're a video guy, like you've been doing video live streaming, recorded videos. You want to do audio podcasting, right? Use your video editor. All right, whether it's Final Cut, I'm sure Final Cut can do it. Doc is a Final Cut guy, so I'll let him amen that. But I'm a Premiere Pro guy, so basically I can edit in Premiere Pro and then export as an MP3 file. If I don't need the video, you're just going to take it just a couple of seconds to render it down to MP3. I have my audio file and I have all the edits made that I need to actually make, and I'm ready to go.
Yep. Same. I actually edited my last 3 podcasts in Final Cut because I did do a video version and then I didn't feel like messing with it after that. So it was already done. So all I did was throw it at Audition, let Audition give it that little sauce that it throws out, and then spit it up. I just sent it up from there. So it's crazy. And believe it or not, a lot of the newer editors will actually publish directly out of the editor to your platform. So for instance, if you completely don't want to know how to do anything, you want to be quote unquote the easy way, but a good easy way, Descript. You could take all your ahs, and out, right? You can fix anything you said crooked. You can change all of the times I called Alec Alex, which I still do, and he's my buddy, just because he's weird. And I can fix those. The computer will save my voice for me and adjust them. And then at the end and save it. What we found a hilarious trick. At the end of my podcast, I have a thing that says, where to get it, and you've been listening to, and it's by Doc Rock. I use the computer voice that's in the script. Fam, it sounds like Collie. It sounds like chocolate chip. Somebody asked me, did you get Collie to do your outro? And I'm like, no, that's the script. And it sounds like her. It's creepy. It's super creepy, but it's very easy. If you can use Microsoft Word at a D student level, you can edit your podcast in Descript.
There you go. So someone asked the question, Doc, what are some of your favorite audio editing softwares to use to put together a podcast? We've mentioned Descript, and well, Doc has already answered the question in the comments. Adobe Audition, which is what I use, and then you can use Descript as well. So with Adobe Audition, I'm able to track it out. I was going to show you today. Basically, I would take my phone, do a intro and an outro, airdrop that to myself, do the edits, EQing, all in Adobe Audition. And like Doc says, I mean, it just takes you minutes to actually do it. All right. So today I was doing a demo starting the show out. Well, of course, the demo that I'm doing in this particular show is not going to vote well as an audio podcast. So I could take that part out, do an intro for the show, introduce the guest, and start the show when my guest starts speaking. And at the end of the show, thank you for listening to the show, not for being here on YouTube, but thank you for listening to the podcast. It'll take you minutes to do in Adobe Audition. And again, there's, of course, I'm an Adobe guy. And one thing I would say about it, and this is something that I know Doc is definitely on when it comes to depending on how you want to create your content, what level you're on, it may be best to invest in those type of editing software so that you can get the best sound possible. So when people listen to your show, you can really have the best quality sound, and people don't really think about it when they hear something good. It just makes them feel good, and it allows them to listen more, and they want to get more and more of your content because it just sounds good. Like, who doesn't like something that sounds good, right?
Yep. You know, real quick, a lot of people are afraid of stuff that they didn't even know yet. They're afraid of
Right.
stuff because somebody else said they were afraid of it. So they go, if 8 out of 10 people I talk to say that they're afraid of this, it must be a thing. So then you go and you do it yourself, and you're like, that wasn't scary. I wonder what they're scared of. Because of those 8 people, 8 of them listen to somebody else tell them it was scary. So they're just repeating what they know. A lot of people just don't know. And most people in the chat now know better because the global society has closed a little bit. But I tell you what, when I first moved to Hawaii, the idea of eating raw fish, like, are you high? I ain't eating no raw fish because I grew up in the hood. The fish market at the hood is gross, right?
Right.
But then I moved to Hawaii. The fish market is across the street, and you just pull it out. Right? You don't have to stand. There's no like long lines and baskets and all that. It's literally the fish was swimming. Now he not swimming, right? And then
Right.
the second part was going to Japan. If you ever get an opportunity to, especially in Japan or like San Francisco or one of the cities near the ocean, have some legitimate sashimi, it will change your mind. But I can tell you, as a hood kid, I was dead terrified to eat anything raw, right? Because it's not a thing.
Right.
So you'd be amazed. It's funny, like all the people I grew up with, 90% would be like, no raw fish. But then I went to a place where the entire state eats raw fish, right? Almost
Made you
everybody in
rethink that.
Hawaii eats raw fish. Everybody in Japan eats it. Once you eat it, you're like, I get it. It's off the chisel. There you go.
There you go.
With,
Listen, we
Filipino
got to say hello to Mr. Camera Junkie for hanging out with us tonight. And Living Well in San Diego says she used to have a virtual assistant do her old podcast, but it was not something that she wanted to do, spend time on, but now she uses the script. So there you go. Someone that finds the ease of use that the script has to help them build a podcast. And I hope, guys, that you're listening at how simple this is. Now, I talked about how climbing the mountain of having a podcast when you have so many other things that you're doing as a content creator. Both Alec and Doc talked about how you really got to push forward to do something like this. And if you're going to do it, be willing to make the mistakes and put the time in to do it the right way so that you could really have that glow up. Last week, I talked to Ash Borland and Andrew Moon, and one of the things that Ash said was you never know when what video would go viral for you. You don't know. So you got to continue to put the content out. In the same way goes with podcasting. Man, you never know who's going to be listening to your podcast.
Correct. You're so correct. My number one video ever put out went viral, and I hate that word, but went viral because I was teaching some people how to change a hard drive in the computer, and I made a video about it. And I guess Kodak Black was getting ready to do a very big show, and his hard drive ate it. The one video he found the tutorial on how to do it was mine, and he sent me personal thank you DMs. But then he told everybody like, "Yo, man, he was like on Instagram Live, y'all was doing this thing." Then I seen this blurred. That's what blurred. You figured out on YouTube, and I
Right.
watched his video, and he made it so simple. And like, I saved my show. I can like do my show. The next day, that video went from like 1,500 views to like 80,000.
Wow.
It's just like, that video has almost 700,000 views right now. And most of the comments say, who's watching this because Kodak Black? So you never know. You just never know. Stuff happens, bro. And crazy enough, doing my show one day, I get a DM from Uncle Ray Edwards saying, hey, this is a great show. I really like your content. And I was like, man, I'm reading this dude's books. And he commented in my thing. And now, because of that comment and us talking back and forth, I'm going to go visit him in a few hours. Are you
Wow.
crazy?
That's
Like,
awesome.
you never know, fam. Do the work.
That's awesome. I agree. You just never know. Even in the comments, I think it was last week on the show, someone commented in the in Ecamm that I didn't think would even watch the show. But guess what? I went back and commented, and I tried to play the cool route, like, hey, I'm cool that you watch the show, but I'm really thinking, man, like, you never know who's going to take the time to get your content and who can you impress by what not really what you know, but the time that you're willing to spend to give to others. And that's what we're doing now. It's to come on and talk about something. And I say that it's simple because I've done it. Of course, Doc and I both have been DJs, for a very long time. And the audio part of Ecamm is very simple for us. I mean, Adobe Audition, I forget the name it was just Audition. But it was a name before that company had, that it was just a standard in radio. So it was very, very easy to use.
What it was called before.
I want to something cut. I can't remember. It's been such a long time that Adobe's had it, and there's so many things that you could do with Adobe Audition to make your voices sound crystal clear. Even with the SM7B, I can still add some EQ and some compression. Is what I really like to add to all of my audio files. Like, once I make sure the levels are right, I actually boost it up and then compress it so that it never goes but so high. I think I have it at -6 or something like that. So it's never peaking in someone's ear. So that's some of the stuff that I use. So Wayne, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. He says hello to everybody. Images by Gretchen. Fear is overrated. It is overrated. I mean, come on. Sometimes you got to jump out the plane. Michelle, glad to have you with us tonight. Bowers here. Thank you for making such a great product. And of course, it's got to be Ecamm, right? And then we have a couple more. So basically, what you're saying, Rock, is when you help people, it's a win. Come on, man.
And that's my story. 100. Everybody in the chat that
on.
knows me know that's what I say 24/7.
Come on.
It is so funny. And here's the crazy thing about it. I got to that portion of my mission from DJ Strick, Limwell, and who else was on us that night? Phil Edgerton. We was on a call one night, just like a couple homies kicking it, and we was talking, and Limwell gave us the sermon, and then we were like, yes.
About the trees. He talked about the trees, right?
Trees, right. They, like lemons aren't afraid to give lemons, right? Or whatever.
Limb drops.
And man, it's been a revelation. It's been an absolute revelation. And one I heard better than that recently, or similar to that recently, was rivers don't drink their own water.
That's so
like
very
rivers
true.
provide water, provide life for everybody else, right? And then from that, they continue to thrive and grow. And so I've been on the mission, and it's a thing. I do want to tell something real quick to everybody who's like, okay, I want to just start just to see if I like it. I do think it's okay to do the Costco sampler before you dive all the way in.
Okay.
Right? Once you do the Costco sampler and you like it, go ahead and buy yourself two, because sometimes you go back to Costco, they don't have it again, right? Ever. So if you like it, get it in there. So here's how you start. Take your phone, go in here, go to your recorder, voice memo, right? Anchor, you can do this directly on Anchor with the Anchor app. Put your phone somewhere where your hands is free, right? Like such. And they'd be like, hey, everyone, welcome to this brand new podcast. This is my preliminary premiere episode. I want to do a podcast about XYZ. Why do I want to do this? Because I'm, Nathan Daniels, and this is what I'm going to do, and blah, blah, blah. And why do I think I can talk about this? I don't know. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. We're going to try it. I want to try to tell you, if you have a story to tell, you should try to tell it. But I hope you like this. Give me some ideas. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you need. And here's how you contact me. And hopefully I'll see you next week with my first episode. But I'm really dying to hear your feedback. So reach out to me on all the socials and we'll get started. That's episode 1. Done. Premiere. Post it. Use that to build your art. Put it where you need to put it. Do all of the things and get ready. And then later on record. But it can be done with this.
There you go.
Simple.
There you go. And definitely saying this not to hold anybody back. And thanks for you, Doc, and for Rich for saying Cool Edit Pro. Man, I love Cool Edit Pro. I really did. Used it all the time. If you are struggling in the area of, I don't like how my voice sounds, I have information, I want to get it out, Doc has just given it to you. Like, he's giving you the keys. Make it simple. The only thing I can tell you is there is a microphone at the back or the bottom of your phone if you use an iPhone, or wherever the mic is for Androids or anything like that. You want to make sure you don't speak directly into that mic. And I can only say this, Doc, because you've given all the keys. This is just like a small little nugget that I could come out with. Alex, you're next with your little nugget to give to help people, because the Doc calls them explosives. If you're speaking, of course, we have this foam on the microphones that stops a lot of our spit from going into the mic. When you're using a phone, just the native phone, you won't have that. So just turn it just a little bit to where you're not speaking directly into that microphone, and you can always, it's still going to sound good. You just won't get your B's and your P's sounding so bad from your phone if you just turn it just a little bit. That's my little nugget. How about you, Alex?
So I'd say, I mean, you said something there about maybe you don't like the sound of your own voice. I think the majority of people probably don't. There's some people who probably like it too much, but
I like it too much.
Like
I'm sorry. I'm a too much guy.
But the thing about it is, like, when I started my YouTube channel, my first live stream was to 0 because I didn't have any subscribers. And one thing is that you never really know who your audience is going to be. You might have an idea about it, but there is always somebody who is out there that is going to be interested in what you've got to say in your message. The other thing is, some people think, oh, I'm not going to do that because somebody's already doing it. There's somebody already making a podcast about X, Y, or Z. The fact is, people like different people, don't they? They like different voices, and what resonates with one person might not with another. So even if you think there's a subject that lots of people are covering, I mean, I started a tech YouTube channel. It's not like there aren't millions of those already. So, but there will be just like an audience that is for you. So, yeah. And I'm basically just,
I don't listen to a lot of tech YouTube channels that have the accent that you have. So, man, that's really cool. Like, you got to do an audio podcast just to share with the world the way you pronounce words so differently from us. And the same way for me. Like, I like the fact that my voice is a fingerprint that's different from anybody else's, including the way I mispronounce words. Like, I think I want to share this because I know Doc will say the same thing. Like, if you can't embrace sometimes your mistakes, you can't win with being a content creator. If I would stop and listen to all the words I mispronounce, all the stutters that I make, all of the things that really make a nice leather, you know what I'm saying? Leather is not perfect. The best leather has some unique parts to it, and you do as well. Like, you have some unique parts to who you are, even in your mistakes. Like, you always stumble. There's some words that I just can't pronounce. You know, I just can't pronounce them, but that makes me who I am. So if I get to the point that I have to pronounce those particular words, I'm going to stumble, and I'm going to stop and say I can't pronounce it, and I'm going to keep going. All right.
that is such a good, I mean, that's what this is about. Recovering perfectionist. It's that perfectionism always used to hold me back. And knowing that, you know, people don't really care about the things that you care about. We're all our own worst critics when it comes to stuff like that. So, like you said, just embrace those things and know that
I bonded over the fact that we're both like recovering perfectionists, because I think my channel would be much bigger than it is right now if I didn't wallow in perfectionism this whole time. And part of it came from something which was really dumb at the time. I was coming from being a professional videographer. Everybody on YouTube was putting out hot rubbish. And I was thinking that my stuff needed to look good so I could show these kids how it's done. And meanwhile, they was doing it, and it got pushed in the back, right? Because people stopped caring. Even to this day, like, I think there's those of us that we still want to put out a certain quality product.
Right.
And then yet we'll open up TikTok and be like, I can't believe 20 million people watch this
Watch
piece of trash.
that. Right.
So, like you have to definitely stop that and just do something. And I will definitely add on the fact about liking you never like your voice. Never. Strick and I have probably heard ourselves forever. You just don't get used to hearing your own voice. I remember that first night in the box, like there was a concert. It was like a Babyface concert, and I was the baby jock. So they were like, hey, you got the booth. We're going to the show. Huh? I thought I'd get free tickets. Yeah, you
Right.
do. When you put some time in, right now, you stay here. The whole station left. It was me and the engineer. And our engineer, Jerry, kind of looked like a serial killer. So I was scared.
That's
Like
funny.
19, and I'm in there like, hey, everyone, welcome to KIKI-FM. I'm Doc Rock. Okay, and then just press the button. And then you listen. Back then, we had a tape, so you could hear what you just said. And I was like, yo, I sound stupid.
Oh man, that was 2 years
know?
for me, Doc. It took me
Bruh.
2 years to find my voice. It really did.
Yes.
I would listen. I remember the first time I had it wasn't even the program director. It was the assistant program director came in, and her question was, "What do you think you're doing?"
Not the question you want to hear from the boss.
That's not what you want to hear. So, I really didn't have a lot of training. So her next 10 minutes of explaining to me how this works saved my whole career, because I was at a point where I could really listen to what she was saying. And Miss Felicia is right. I have this accent because, Alec, I'm from Alabama, and we do pronounce things a little bit different here in Alabama. So that's what it's all about. And hey, Chris, good to see you tonight, sir. Thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, visibility is greater than ability. Rock, just do. And man,
That's something that I actually got from Ash Borland back when he was on my show. That was something he said, and I absolutely love that
That's
statement.
cool.
It's definitely true. And again, what's funny, people just do it. Strick said something very valuable, and I hope you rewind that part and listen to it again. It took him 2 years to find his voice. Okay,
It really did.
this is a
It really
thing.
did.
For myself included, it took me a couple years to find my voice. It is what it is. And once you find your voice, or once you figure out what your light switch moment is, you just go. At the time, I didn't even know it. I can't say I found my voice. Strick and Linwell, they told me, this is it, dude. What do you mean this is it? No, this is the one. This is exactly what you're doing is the thing. You need to just double down, triple down on that and focus. And same with Stephanie. Stephanie got me started, and she was like, you're going to murder this thing. Just go in. And I was trying, like, I need my studio to be straight. I need this, I got to drop like 10 pounds and blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, absolutely not. I don't know if you know Stephanie. She's cute and she's quiet, but she's scary because she's Muay Thai boxer. She kick your butt. So when she started yelling at me, I was like, yes, ma'am. Okay, let's go in. So I got scared.
Cool.
I got
That's
scared
cool.
into it. It was scarier to do this than to have her come after me. So sometimes you just got to get out your way. And my community, you guys did it. And everybody knows I say dumb stuff all the time. My community has bonded around the stupid things I say. They call them docisms. Oh, that's just a docism. You'll get used to it. They tell the new people, yeah, I explained what he just said. Like they cover for me.
That is so cool. I want to do this really quick, everybody. And Alex, if you can get ready to do behind the streams really quick. We want to see your setup. We're going to start with your audio. If you have another, I guess, camera you can use to kind of show what you look like over there. We're talking about. We started the show, of course, with a demo. So everybody in the replay, thank you for watching. I definitely want you to understand how simple it is with Ecamm to get, whether it's the video file that Anchor allows you to just download now. I mean, it really make it simple. Just pull the whole thing over. Or if you need to edit and you need to put an intro and an outro, you get like today, 3 people are talking. I will have all 3 of us on separate tracks that I can actually go in and edit. And Jared said it already that EQing sometimes makes the difference. I like to do a little bit of compression on mine so I can get that full sound, but it never peaks, have the lows and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what I like to do when it comes to editing my podcast. But there's so many things you can do, whether it's Adobe Audition, or Descript to be able to get those files edited down. You can spend as much time as you want to, or you can spend as little time at all and just drop the whole movie file in. Or if you already have editing software, okay, if you already have video editing software, edit the video, all right, with the audio connected, and then export it as an MP3 file. You have what you need. Like, that's genius. Okay, if your video editor allows you to export an MP3, Final Cut should. I know Premiere Pro does. Those are just ways that you can make all of this simple for you, because Ecamm Live has given you what you need to be able to do it. Repurpose your content. Do it through some type of audio podcasting. In the notes, Doc has already put a link in the in our comments about Podchasers. Did I get it right? Did I remember it right?
Yep. Podchaser. Yes.
Podchaser. He's already put it in there, so you guys can actually go and load up your podcast, and it will be more of a library that you can use for other things. You want to build your resume, right? You got a resume on YouTube, you got a resume with your podcast, and now people will see you, and it will be a little bit more of a professional look. There you go. That being said, can we dive into a behind the scene right now with Alec? I know he has a killer setup, and we'll learn a little bit about how he's doing it. And guys, don't go anywhere, because I want to shout everybody out before we get out of here today. So Alec, I'm actually going to pull over to you, and I want to start with your audio. And Doc, you can help me run through this as well.
Sure. So this is kind of what it looks like from behind. Hello.
That's really cool.
But I'll just start with here. So what I've got in front of me is the Shure MV7. And in fact, the reason why I got this microphone in the first place was because I just wanted to get my audio right from the start with my YouTube channel. And then this one has both USB and XLR. So it was the idea that I'd use it over USB and then at some point upgrade my my audio to an external interface. So I've got the Rodecaster Pro 2 in front of me as well now. So that's a recent addition, thanks to Doc and Ecamm.
Nice.
But that's now, I'm basically still using the same microphone, but going into the Rodecaster. I then use the Stream Deck and Loop Deck. I'd use the two of those together. If I had to recommend one, it's definitely Stream Deck all the way. The Loop Deck user interface needs a little bit more work, to be honest. It's I think they've got a bit of work to do on the app. However, the two devices together actually work really well with Ecamm, because you can control levels in Ecamm. So I use the dials on the Loop Deck to control, the all the different audio levels in Ecamm. So if you've got guests on interview mode, you can assign each individual interview guest to one of the dials, so you can get the audio levels right there, and it just gives you like a few extra actions that you can control as well. So basically, this is if I'm doing a live stream or presenting in Zoom or something like that, maybe having an interview coming in and then going out through Zoom, then basically all of the functions here are used. So that's a kind of another bit of advice really in terms of Stream Deck. If you're deciding on should you go with the 6, the 15, or the 32, if you think you can manage with 6 or 15, you'll probably find that there is a load more stuff that you realize after the fact that you could actually do with it. So although I bought it for streaming, actually I use it predominantly just day to day for a whole load of other productivity stuff. So I'd always recommend the 32 key for the Stream Deck.
Really cool.
In terms of the
go right ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Everybody is commenting that you have a really cool setup over there too.
Oh, thank you. I'll just show you as well what it looks like from this side. So the monitor that I'm using, I actually used to have my camera on top of my monitor, but then I've sort of moved it off to one side now to make space for a few other things. And what I'm actually looking to do is, if I keep this straight, so that's a 43-inch 4K monitor. So it's really good for having lots of space to place lots of different apps for when I'm doing screen demos. It's also good for some of the stuff I do like work-wise, but it means that there's, in Ecamm, I basically have set up 4 or 5 different scenes that are focused on a different area of the screen. So when I'm hopping between apps or settings or things like that, then I'm not constantly opening and shutting things. I've just got a dedicated area of the screen assigned to a particular scene in Ecamm. So it makes it really easy to do those demos. So I've moved the camera and teleprompter off to one side. So I'm using the DesView T3 teleprompter with a Lilliput A7 monitor. Sorry. And then down below, for the moment, I've actually, since I moved the camera literally just about 2 weeks ago, I've put an iPad down here that I have for the chat, or if I'm on a Zoom call, then I'll have the speaker view in the teleprompter and the gallery view down on here. But what I'm actually going to do is put a vertical monitor down here. So probably one of the little portable monitors that Doc recommended, funnily enough. So I'll be putting that down there, and then maybe actually a second one over to the side for just purely for screen demos. Now, the camera that I'm using, it still hasn't been upgraded. It's the same one I've been using from the start, which is actually a 10-year-old Canon EOS 60D. So if you want anything to tell you that you don't actually need the absolute latest and greatest to make a start, then that's sort of proof. That's the camera I've got there. I was intending to upgrade to the ZV E10, and then they had the stock issues, and then they have started coming back into stock now, but I've just still not got around to it.
Just ask Doc to send you one of his. No worries.
Yeah. And then here I've just got a little, this is an Ava Media 4K webcam that is the one that you've seen from that other shot. I also repurposed an old webcam for a kind of over-the-shoulder shot. So this is just an old webcam. I don't really use this too much, but it just gives another option there. That's pretty much. No?
Well,
the lights
go right ahead. I was going to ask you about your lights.
Yeah, so just really quickly, these are another thing that I'm intending to upgrade, but these are just really low-cost softboxes. I bought them before I started doing the YouTube, actually. It was when I wanted to have more light for my Zoom calls, when it was during lockdown, and so I was looking to work from somewhere in the home and just needed to get better lighting. These, you can change the color temperature on them if you change the light bulbs. They're literally just household light bulbs, so it's nothing special. I will be upgrading all of the lighting to Nanlite again. Basically, I just follow what Doc does, don't I? So
don't we all?
Something, yeah. And then up here, I've got sound panels on the ceiling above, and then this one sort of covers a window. And then I've got the sound panels on the wall behind me that just sort of help with the audio. I've got some backlighting behind the sound panels, and then these are Nanlite Pavo tubes on the back that give that sort of wash on the back wall. So
I like
that's
it.
kind of what I've got.
I like it. Very impressive, Doc. He gives a lot of respect to you and your advice as well, like we all do, as far as the setup. Like, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, I mean, when I started, it was I found out about Ecamm from Doc, and then I was watching all of Doc's videos on setup and stuff like that. So, and at the end of every video, he says, "I'm Doc, your content creation coach," and I guess I just sort of believed it, and I've stuck with it. So,
hey, I'm with you 100%. Listen, I started with Doc when he was just telling people how to write notes with sticky notes and how to do what was it? It was templates for your show. He was explaining how to write all that stuff down. He was talking about notebooks, just taking the notebook with you and writing down. If you want to write something, just take a notebook. I've been with Doc for a while now, so I'm still learning and still trying to incorporate some of this stuff, because you just never know. I didn't even know about the podcast platform that he was talking about, but I'm going to take a look at that along with the book recommendation as well. And I appreciate both of you guys taking the time to hang out with us today.
Thanks. I got that off actually from Ian Anderson Gray. Introduced me to marketing team at Captivate because I was just looking for something different from using Podbean. So yeah, that's cool. I like it.
Wow. So I actually missed shouting this young lady out today. Miss Janice here totally agrees with you, Alex. Doc is this man, like that's a lot to say. That's a lot to say, Doc, that you're the standard. I don't want you getting on that plane and having a hard time getting to your seat, sir.
They're not gonna make it past TSA.
I
They're
know it,
gonna be
right? It's like, sir, something is going on here.
linebackers.
Like your head is really big. Doc is definitely a content creation coach. He loves to share his knowledge, know-how, and expertise. That is so good and well said. I do want to say this, and I guess I picked it up from Doc. And if you are a content creator, if you're a coach, if you just downright like helping people, you would go far. Like there's not like giving away information, especially the way we get information, which is generally from somebody else anyway. Why not give it away? The more you give away, I guarantee you, the more you get back.
Yep.
So
It's just the thing. And it's funny because you're right. Most of the people that are teaching what they're teaching, they learned it from somebody else. Even when you got to university, right? Your professor had to go to school to learn how to be a professor. So the stuff that they was teaching you, they got taught it, right? Your mom is
right.
teaching you lessons from your grandma and your grandma prior to that, your great grandma or whatever. So it's been like this since day one. I really don't know why people try to hold on to information like they invented something. There are a handful of kinfolk out here that invented something, but then they don't, right? I mean, the best product Apple ever made, Steve would tell you point blank, damn right I stole it, but I stole it better. Right?
There you go. I
You
mean, there
know,
was phones out there already,
we fought
right?
Samsung for trying to steal it back. So come on, fam. Like you just got to do it. Like, don't be afraid. Those noises you hear, all that little chatter about why this may or may not be good or whatever, man, that is literally distractions. That's distractions trying to take your eyeball off the obstacles in your goal in front of you. So you kind of got to mute that stuff, right? Put on your Ecamm, your on mute shirt, and just go right through it.
Just
It's also a really great way to embed the knowledge yourself as well. So, I mean, I've been making Ecamm videos since I started my YouTube channel. At the time I started my YouTube channel, I'd been using Ecamm for a month and a half. So, you know, it's not like I was some master who'd been using it for years and I learned from someone else. And then thinking about the process of making the video is part of the process of me fully understanding it to the point where I can tell somebody else how to do it. So it just really embeds the knowledge for me. And that's part of the reason why I do it as well, is for my own benefit.
there you go. I mean, we've all said it. I'm hoping you guys are listening. So before I get out of here, Kimberly, thank you for hanging out with us. Beyond 280, thank you for hanging out with us. Jared, man, a wealth of information. Jared, we need to talk. Inbox me, sir. Michelle, thank you for being with us. Kevin, man, every time you're around, we need to talk more, Kevin. We need to have you around us. You just bring such great energy. And Miss Felicia, thank you for hanging out with us. And Dean was with us, and I haven't read what Dean said. We all have the same stuff because we do what Doc tells us to do. And I would say most of the time. I'm with you, Dean, most of the time. But yes, that is so true. That is so true. Everybody at Let's Get Live is trying to figure out how to get the Rodecaster 2. Like, everybody's got to have it, so I get it. So
I was just looking to get a Milwaukee tool chest to Thailand.
Right. How did he get that? Hey, you said forget
Have
the
you seen
Husky.
it,
I got the Milwaukee.
Yeah. Have you seen it, Strick?
Say that
Bertha,
again?
my new friend. Have you seen my new girlfriend, Bertha?
What are you talking about?
Oh, it's right here. So it's kind of like in the middle of me packing, but this bad boy right here, this is like got all my camera gear.
No.
like
I seen it. That's what I was talking about. When everybody's talking about the Husky, you got the Milwaukee, right?
Man, it was worth it. I mean, I just got it because I love Milwaukee. The Huskies are fantastic, and I was almost about to buy it, but Home Depot just started getting the Milwaukees in. I couldn't get one in Hawaii before, so I just never thought about it. But when I went to go get it, it was there. And my favorite thing I liked about it over the Huskies, two things. It's Milwaukee, which is a brand that I use a lot, but this drawer has a space, so I can just reach in and grab stuff on the first one. So that was primarily why I got it. And it's been the best thing I've ever done in the studio. Go look for something. I know exactly where it is. Whoop, whoop. So
I saw the setup. I was like, I would have drawers, but none of my drawers to pull out, okay, I had to say it that way, will be that clean with the camera and lenses. Like, I guess, how do you keep it that clean? Because I would go in one time and mess everything up.
I'm being very Okay, you know how I'm keeping it clean? You're going to laugh at this. It's the dumbest thing ever because I'm with you. Normally, I would make a mess out of it. When I worked at the Apple Store in the Genius Room, all the tools are in a very particular spot. So that because there's 9 mechanics basically that sit in that chair in the course of a day, things need to be exactly where they are. People don't have to go looking for them because that would slow down the process.
Right.
So you even get methodical with shutting the drawer quietly so that you don't shake everything. The dope thing about this and the Husky, they have soft closed drawers. So when you shut it, stuff doesn't go flying. It shuts nice and soft, right? And then the second part of it is having it in the exact spot. If you're the type of person who's not going to do it, get a Sharpie and make like little marks or something on the rubber mat. So you'll be tempted to put it back exactly where it came from because it definitely. I just packed my bag for the plane. It took me seconds to pack my bag because everything was exactly in the right spot.
Right.
Normally, packing my backpack for a shoot is like 2 hours.
Gotcha.
But I just watched enough of Peter Lindgren and other creators that have it set up the way we would set it up for like a hospital or the way we would set it up for the Army, whatever. Things have a very particular place so that in an emergency, if this whole Rodecaster Pro ate it right now, I could have the second mic up and running in under 15 seconds because now everything is where it's supposed to be. So I'm thinking of it as a contingency thing or like a surgical thing. Things just go in order. And it changed everything. Really.
There's nothing like, even in your craft, maturing and making the next level move for yourself. Because now, as you have been through so many different obstacles or things that may have happened, you understand why you have a contingency plan. Because it's nothing like going online and your whole string dropping that you realize I need to have a backup. So thank you so very much for all that you provide. Alex, thank you for showing us behind the stream and being a part of the conversation today. We're talking about podcasting with Ecamm the whole month. So I have a few more guys coming in next week to kind of hang out with me, including Mr. Camera Junkie, Luis, and Kevin Colby is going to be hanging out with it next week as well. And Steve Worthy will be with me too. I got a couple of people coming to hang out with me, and we're just going to help you through the process for you to understand how easy it is to podcast with Ecamm Live. That being said, do me a favor if you don't mind. Why not just go ahead and join the stream team? Lights, camera, action. Join the stream team with Strick and Brant and be a part of the Stream Network. Our goal is really simple. We're here to help you succeed.